Okay, so I've recorded a wee test on this machine, on this machine to play back on this. This uses tube amps, so there's always a 50 hertz hum. There might be a grounding issue with the tube amps, or it could be some interference from close components. Probably have a look at that at some point. But to record that, I had a guitar going into this reverb tank, into this mixer, sent out to this Mellotron pedal with a fully wet mix on the flute setting. That's going into delay, which kind of pitches it down for some reason. But it kind of smooths it out and adds more sustain, and the sustain on that's already a max. Kind of has a dreamy kind of reverb to it. And the dry from this effects pedal is going to this one, which is on a kind of surfy sort of preset. I have turned off the reverb and delay, and that's just there for tremolo, equalization, and a different amp model. But then I've also got the dry signal from this, which is just the spring reverb. These are going to two different channels on there, but they're getting mixed into one when I'm playing back on here, which I quite like, just kind of lo-fi surfy. Yeah, on here, it looks like I've cranked up the mids. I'm not too sure why, but I'm sure there was a reason. Probably because it sounded better on tape. But yeah, that's on tape here, and that's played at 3 3/4 inches per second, so that it plays back on this pretty much true, because it's only got one speed. Don't know what the type of tape that is. It kind of looks like chromic, but it's a good quality tape from the time. But the thing is, the channels on this, well, this is kind of a low range one, and that's like a mid to high range reel-to-reel machine. But because this is such a low range machine, the playheads are mismatched, and there are also recording issues with that. But because these tapes were recorded on a low-end machine initially, some of the tracks are kind of misaligned. So you kind of get, and also this was also, the original tape on this was recorded on a machine that could play in both directions. These are like monodirectional machines. So occasionally you get a reverse kind of effect, and you get a recording of what the tape initially sounded like, but in reverse. And that cuts in kind of at random, but I've noticed that it kind of seems to be, it seems to be in time with the music. So maybe it's something to do with the amplifier, where, because that's a 3-track machine, I'm assuming that, it doesn't really make much sense, to be honest. But there's definitely a misalignment in some of the tape. Or I think it might be that this has been recorded on both sides, possibly. I'll do some more experiments. But yeah, I'm putting it on here because of the tube amp. I'm also starting this off switched off, which it is just now, and then turning it on so that the tone brings out the darker tones. So the equalization brings up the lower tones because of the 50 hertz hum. That means if I do want to equalize it when I digitize it, I can put down the low end, bring up the high end to give it a kind of truer sound to what it was recorded like, but still have the effect of the tube amp and the and I've still got the potential to have the warmth of this machine. That's the best way I can do it. If I had bias towards high end, that means that I'd always get this interference, not this interference, this 50 hertz hum bleeding in. But if I crank up the low end, when I equalize it, I can bring this 50 hertz hum a lot further down. And this is kind of similar to what Dolby Digital, not Dolby Digital, Dolby Noise Reduction does, where when recording it'll crank up the high end sound and lower it down when it's playing back, so that the recording's true to what it was recorded like, but the tape hiss is also reduced. And I'm hoping to have a similar effect with this, but just through equalization when I am playing it back or recording it. So yeah, hopefully that will eliminate the 50 hertz hum. Also amend them, I have moved the mic a bit closer, but you'll notice that it's not pointed at the speakers, it's pointed just above, because the high end resonates quite well through this. And even the low end, but I've noticed that the 50 hertz hum, the source is kind of direct on. It seems to come out kind of straight out. Yeah, it's probably getting the best of both worlds because that's stereo. So I'll be able to get a recording from about this area, some of these tones. Also, I want to use my phone while I'm doing this for kind of ambiguity of time. But this will be kept at least about a metre away, so right beside this wall, that's probably the wall where I will be sitting as well. These trousers are quite noisy, but I've duct taped the bottom because I've noticed that most of the high end noise coming from that is from the fact that it's baggy. Shirt's also quite I don't know why people think I'm insane. Okay. Now, you definitely won't be able to tell from there, there's less movement noise. Closer to there, probably roll up my sleeves too. So the tone will be right up, and that's also the power. Scroll that down, switch off. There will be a click from the machine, and then will slow down, but that's part of its charm. But if we're moving about, you hear a lot more of the sort of low tones than the high ones because I've done this. It does look ridiculous and it's over the top, but it works. Okay. Right, so I can't really be bothered with sketchbooks just now, but my plan is I've set up a sort of surfy sort of setting, and I've edited together a bunch of songs that were originally on this, mixed with the guitar, and yeah, like originally I was just improvising. But what I want to do, because I've edited that together and just isolated all the drums and things from that, but it's still, you can kind of make it out, and it's kind of difficult to keep a track of the beat. So the plan is, I've taken it onto the laptop, gonna chuck it back through the mixer, and then onto, not this reel-to-reel player, but that's the only one in the shop, into the other one, flop that one there, bounce that between the reel-to-reel player and cassette, because I feel like that will sound a bit more surfy. and then use kind of analog fade-ins at the start, but two different ones, so that the edited songs fade in later, and then whatever I decide to do later, I'll need to try out first. But that kind of starts in, kind of creates a structure. Oops. I'll maybe do the beats digitally, because then I can have more control over it, but I would also like to not do that. I mean, I could do it in mono. That would mean I've got 2 tracks to play with, and then I can mix that later. And because they're just the backing tracks, I think that would work fine. Yeah, I think I'll do that. And there'll be a bit of bleed as well, so it won't be perfect, which is kind of what I'm looking for. And a bit of bleed will mean it'll sound more stereo than it actually is. So I'll add that percussion in, just because I want a simple beat to begin with while I'm doing the guitar stuff. And I want it to kind of, the guitar to be out of, kind of out of sync with itself, not following a strict time signature or beat. And then when the beat comes in, naturally, I'll just start to follow that. Right, so I'm just recording like a bit of silence at the start as a slight buffer. So that fucking love that sound. Okay, so I forgot to record this, but I did a kind of performance just for ambient sort of noise in the background. And I wanted to kind of have some thunder noises or something like that to kind of add some ambience and tension. This is what's left of the kind of setup. Kind of turned out a wee bit like a performance. The cables lying about there are, they were a bit more tidy. They were just plugged into that. Yeah, it's just all these objects. Also had a bell, and it's an old thing, so it doesn't really resonate. It needs a bit of a clean. But I thought the click was quite interesting, and that's the thing I pre-programmed.